Hey guys, how's it going today? Today I'll be talking about my top 3 bait on Hudson River fishing. As you know, I live not too far from Albany, New York, so I fish at the Hudson River a lot because it's nearby. Where I live, the Hudson River is not as good as, bass fishing as down towards Kingston or Catskill, but we still have a lot of fishing in the upper part of the Hudson River. From like Troy all the way down to like Catskill. There's still some fish there, but it's not as good producer as lower down. So my top 2 bait today will be covered from the top all the way to the bottom. Before I jump into the bait, I want to talk about the tidal water system. Where I live, the waters go up and down about 4 to 6 foot tidal swing, depending on the moon phase. So the best way I have learned, the best time I have learned for me personally, it's when I was fishing on low tide. Low tide is probably the best time for me because it's a lot easier for me to find a fish, obviously, because the low tide going down, the fish just concentrate in certain spot of the river, certain spot of the creek, So I do a lot of damage in lower tide and upper tide. So high tide. So low tide, I usually just focus on hard structure. There's a lot of hard structure in Hudson River. There's a lot. So what happened around Hudson River? There's a lot of like full side tank going through where I live. So what happened is that they have to put a stake along the shore to keep the water from like wave creating and hitting, erosion happening. So what happened, they put a piece of wood, a lot of like wood stake along the river there, along the river. That's a hard structure, man-made structure. So what I usually for me to fish low tide, all those structures show. So my favorite thing to do for that kind of like situation, I would throw my first bait right here, which is the top water, to locate the fish. Whopper plopper, you can't go wrong with whopper plopper for sure. Nobody can. It's simple, Everybody can throw them. It doesn't require a lot of technique, Cast it out, reel, that's it. So what I usually focus, as long as you're really accurate with your cast, you should be to, guarantee catching fish along those hot structure during, when the water get to like 50 above. So what I focus on with the whopper plopper, I usually go with a color. I go with black. I do have white, but that's only 2 colors I really go with. I don't really go fancy or too much with a different color for sure. So that was the focus on top water system. You can throw buzz bait. There's a lot of top water in work. You can throw spook, you can throw popper, you can throw buzz bait or anything. Wake bait, swim bait, anything that top water work as well, So what happened, so the water going down, so the man-made structure show, the fish would just use the man-made structure as a hiding place or ambush place for them to ambush or to get away from the current, because the tidal water, the current on the Hudson River is fairly strong actually. It's fairly strong. It's fairly fast, you can say. So what happened? It's that does help for them to hide, to ambush for the predator, for the big fish as well. So the next bait, actually, I'm going to talk about. It's actually, you can say mid, you can say deep. It doesn't matter. So crankbait. I got two side crankbait here. I got a flat one. I think they're both bomber. This is bomber flat A. Yep, this is bomber flat A. This is the bait that I caught a lot of fish on actually. You can see the color is shad. I focus on the shad color. One right here. See how fat it is. I kind of wrote it down. This is 300 side bomber. So if you see any job up, anything like that, this is perfect for it. To cast it out, reel and back in, smallmouth will just follow it, especially fall. Fall is really good with those crankbait. You can try to do that same thing as the top water as well. Sometimes I just do that. I just throw a crankbait, like a shallow dry crankbait towards the man-made structure when the low tide go down. So that's when I usually fish for those crankbait as well. Same as, the top water bite doesn't produce, I usually just toss a crankbait in there. Sometimes I follow. For those crankbait, I usually focus on bright color. For like chartreuse color, red color, anything really bright, because the water is really muddy when it's on low tide in the Hudson. Along the man-made structure like that, the water is really dirty. Either you're gonna go really bright or really dark. You want something to be stand out a little bit. So that was the tip I learned for fishing the Hudson River. So the next bait, we're gonna jump right into it. It's actually a spinning bait here. This is, you can see, this is the same one I use. This is 3/8, 2.5. This is 3/8. But you can get one willow or one spin Colorado, or doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter. You want one of the Colorado. You want that blade that actually dumping a lot. So you want hard dumping bait for sure. You don't care how fast you want to reel. You want a lot of bait to do a lot of dumping and bright color, because as I said before, the water in the Hudson on low tide is dirty, muddy. Sometimes it's super muddy, especially after the rain. So you want hard dumping, bright color bait. That's the thing that produces a lot of fish for me. It's bright. You want anything that get the fish attention, especially the fish. I don't know. The fish here is really weird. Sometimes they're just like, they miss, like they're aggressive too. Sometimes they'll just miss your bait and you keep casting back again, they'll just bite it. I guess they're aggressive. Also, one thing I have learned from the Hudson River, even though it's a tidal water system, the fish does not move. What I have learned, the reason I know is because I caught these fish, right? I missed it. I caught it and I put it back, same exact spot. I come back 2 or 3 weeks later. I was like, oh, maybe I'll try to catch that fish. I caught it again. Then I was like, it's the same fish. Same exact pile of the wood structure pile. That's where they were. So now I know that the fish doesn't really move, even though it's the tidal water, but they're just going up and down on the piling. So that's one of the bait that I actually would recommend. If you're new to the area, new to the Hudson River, you can't go wrong with those two bait. Top water, you can go with Vapor Plopper in summer, crankbait in the summer or spring. Just make sure you get the one that bright color. So you're looking for the easiest way for you to catch fish on the Hudson River. It's just a lot of casts right into the structure there. I'm still learning as a high tide, so I don't have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge on high tide, but I'm a little bit more experienced on the low tide fishing for sure. For me, again, I'm still learning as I mentioned before, but low tide for me, I feel like I make, I catch more fish during the low tide than high tide for sure. So that was my 3 baits so far for this year. I mean, for the experience, what helped me catching fish at the Hudson River. So if you guys have any question, comment, or any recommendation, please let me know. I probably do more video about different bait, because there's a lot of technique that I can show you or give you some idea about. So